In this video, we're going to continue looking at C# and a simple console application and things you can do with a console app. So in the last video, we created this prompt where we said type freely, and you can say hi there. And it comes back and says you typed hi there. So working with strings, you're not going to always want to use the plus operator. There are some better tools available for working with text, and that's with this. You do string dot, and again, what string is it's a data type in C#. It just means a string of characters. So if you're working with text and what you would normally think of text, or words, or writing, or typing, it's a string. So string is text, and then it gives you all these different options of all these things you can do with strings. So the one I'm going to show you first is string.concat. What concat means is adding two strings together or combining. So the difference in the syntax here is, let me actually just undo this. So to accomplish what we're doing here, rather than saying you typed and plus x, we'll say string concat, and we're going to concatenate these together. And the way the concat function works is you just give it multiple string data types, and it's going to combine them all together. So you can even come back here and you separate everything with a comma. So you can have as many entries as you want. These are called arguments, or parameters is the vocabulary word for them. So you can have as many parameters as you like. So we'll come here and we'll say you typed, put a period, just so you know, dot dot. Okay. So now we'll say hi there. It says you typed hi there, just so you know. Now notice this works pretty much in the exact same way as the plus operator. Now, why would you not want to use the plus operator? When you're combining a large number of text, so for instance, if you had like 6, 8, or 10 strings together, the plus operator under the hood becomes very inefficient. So it works well for 2 or 3 or 4 strings. And C# actually helps you. If you're just using the plus operator, when it goes to compile it into computer language, it actually converts this to a concat statement, as long as it's 4 or less. So you can type plus all you want, and it's still going to do this under the hood. Now another way to do this, because this does not look very straightforward, there's another function called format. So we'll come here and we'll say string.format. And what format does is, if you notice here, you've got a kind of a break here in your text. It's not the easiest thing for a developer or a programmer, or anybody, any human in general, to look at this and kind of tell what's going on. So format kind of gives you a friendlier way of combining strings together, or actually not combining. The power word is entering, so you can enter a string within a string. And let me show you how you do that. We'll say you typed. The way this works is a format, you give it a string with a placeholder in it, and then you're going to insert another string where that placeholder is. So the way you specify a placeholder is you do a curly brace, a 0, and a curly brace. And now the only other thing you're going to do is put a comma, and then the string that you want to enter, this is called your format object. So if you look at the helper as you're typing, notice here it says string format. So all of this here is your format object, and the bracket 0, or the curly brace 0, is going to be the placeholder, and we're going to put X here. So again, we're going to run. type freely. Hi there. And it works exactly the same way. However, out of all of these methods, this one is probably the cleanest looking. You can have more than one placeholder, just so you know. So let's do this. We'll say console right line. You can have more than one. So we'll do 0. And remember, like I said, there's no forgiveness for grammar, so I'm putting spaces between our placeholders. And we'll put X. Well, this is going to get interesting because we have multiple placeholders and one variable. So the way Linux and Windows run .NET code is slightly different. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. This will throw an exception in Windows. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Oh, it throws an exception there. Index 0 base must be greater than or equal to 0 and less than the size of the argument list. What does that mean? It means we got too many placeholders and not enough variables. So we have 1, 2, 3 placeholders, and they always start with 0. So you do 0, 1, and 2. We need 3 string values, x, x, and x. Now this will run. Type hello. And that works. Now the problem, another problem comes up whenever you want characters in your output that you can't type. Like for example, if you wanted these guys on a new line below this, you cannot put an enter there. Because even if you do, it's going to not put that in the output. Right? So I mean, even though we did a new line here, and it's because this code is going to compile, it's going to treat all of this as one statement because it is one console write line statement. So how are we going to actually put a new line in this string if it won't let us? And I'm going to show you that trick. It's a trick called an escape character. So what an escape is if there's a character that you want in the output that you cannot actually put into C# code correctly, there's an escape sequence for that, and it is a slash, or depending on your terminology, some people refer to this as a whack, W-H-A-C-K, whack. If you do whack new line, it's going to put everything after that, all of these placeholders on the new line. So we say hi, and now if you see, it has word wrapped. Other escape sequences, escape sequences, if you do /t, that gives you a tab character. So in this particular case, the tab was 1 space away. If we do 2 tabs, you'll see it move over a little more. See, now it's further over. Other things you may want to do is you may want to put a quotation mark in there. So if you wanted to quote, you can't do this, right? Because that breaks your C# code. So if you want quotes around your placeholder, you escape your quotation marks, and now if you look, that looks nice and pretty. We say hi, and you'll see those quotation marks appear there. Now if you need to actually use a backslash, there's an escape sequence for that. It's whack, whack. And now you'll see there are backslashes in our output. Those are just some of the most common ones. There's a whole table of these out on the internet. I'm not going to go over every single one. Um, but that shows you what you need, the basics of working with text in a console application.